Hey everyone, it's Kino here. Thanks for joining me on this Yoga Sutra study course. Bring your hands together and inhale. Let your hands rest down. Today we'll be going over Yoga Sutra number 7 from book 1. This sutra talks about the 3 different types of right knowledge. So what is right knowledge? Right knowledge is knowledge that leads you to the truth. Being able to decipher what is the truth is one of the faculties or benefits or gifts, you could say, from the continual practice of yoga. Let's go ahead and break down this sutra word by word. Pratyaksa, Anumana, Agama, pramānāni, Pratyaksa, Anumana, Agama, pramānāni. The first 3 words are the 3 different types of knowledge. We'll combine those 2 to make one compound word in Sanskrit. It's very long, don't get intimidated. Here we go. Pratyaksānumānāgamāh, pramānāni, pratyaksānumānāgamāh, pramānāni. Let's try it all together. Pratyaksānumānāgamāh, pramānāni. Pratyaksānumānāgamāh, pramānāni. One more time. Pratyaksānumānāgamāh, pramānāni. Good. So remember that Sanskrit, just like the practice, takes a really long time. So let's take a look at the different types of right knowledge. Pramānāni, right knowledge. There are 3 types of right knowledge, not ways or frameworks or epistemology. So this is how you know. 3 ways that you can come to the right knowledge, or in other words, the truth. The truth, meaning the objective, incontrovertible truth, the truth that cannot be talked out of, a truth that is absolutely solid. Okay? So what are the 3 methods that we can find that rock solid truth? First, pratyaksha. Pratyaksa is direct experience. That truth that you know to be true because you have experienced it to be true. But experience itself can sometimes be misleading. So how do you know the truth? What pratyaksha is actually the truth? Well, according to Patanjali, the highest pratyaksha is the experience of the spirit, Purusha. Truly, the experience of Ishvara Purusha, or the presence of God, the presence of the divine. This is the highest truth that there is, the truth that is absolutely incontrovertible, the truth that is solid. Not the little squabbles that we have over different manifestations or different experiences around us in our lives, but the truth of the highest form of life, the truth of the divine. This is something that Patanjali places as the highest form of truth. Just think about it for yourself. If you've experienced something, tasted it firsthand, then there's no way that you can be talked out of it. For example, if you've tasted a lemon, there's no way that someone can convince you that a lemon is sweet. A lemon will give you that kind of sour taste if you squeeze it or drink it, which is really nice. Nothing wrong with the sour taste of a lemon. It's just not sweet. If someone tries to convince you, no, this lemon is really, really sweet, but you know because you've tried lemons upon lemons upon lemons, you know it's not sweet. It has that sour face. You're going to suck on a lemon and make that sour face because you've tried it. You know you can't be talked out of it. Now imagine if that knowledge is not limited to lemons, but that knowledge is based in the highest truth. The highest truth of the divine, the spirit, the true light of the world. If you're able to recognize that and see it because you have experienced it. Remember that yoga is a path of experience. And yoga is a vehicle for you to transcend all of the philosophical debates about what is right and what is wrong and what is true and what is untrue. Yoga is a vehicle for you to experience the truth, pratyaksha, the highest form of knowledge. Pratyaksa, Anumana. Anumana is knowledge that comes from logical deduction or induction, the reasoning, the knowledge that comes from our rational minds. Now, the danger with this type of knowledge is that it can lead you to the truth, but it can also mislead you. You know, if you've ever studied something, you can find out that you can argue about it really forever. One of the most illuminating classes I ever took in college was a class called The Political Novel. And the thesis of this class was that every student had to come up with the thesis and come up with 3 points that could prove the thesis and also 3 points that could disprove the thesis. So imagine that you have to come up with some sort of a statement, whether that statement is that yoga mats are good for you. Yoga mats are good. Come up with 3 things which would support that thesis, and then also come up with 3 statements that would refute that thesis and argue them both credibly. Once you're able to understand that framework or paradigm of thought, you're able to really understand the limits of rational thinking. So very easily you can see the limitations of the logical mind. The logical mind is limited by its own reason. You know, at some moment the earth was flat according to the logical mind, and people were killed because they dared to argue or prove otherwise. We should be so humble to understand the limits of our logical mind. Patanjali says that the logical inference, or that path of logic, has of course the potential to lead us to right knowledge, but not a guarantee. It can also lead us to wrong knowledge or misperception. So we should think about the limits of our own logical minds and remember to be humble as we walk the path of yoga. Finally, the last form of knowledge, or right knowledge, is Agama. Agama is devotional knowledge. This knowledge comes from a source that we understand or trust, and we believe it to be true because we trust the source. So what are some examples of that? First, sacred scriptures. We may not understand something, but if we read it in our sacred scriptures, we take that knowledge to be true and we learn from it. Second, the words of our teacher. We may not understand it, but the words of our teacher, because we trust that person, we trust that statement, even if it doesn't make sense to us. The third, and really good example of Agama, or devotional knowledge, is the heart of a child, which if you have children and they ask you a question, you tell them the answer, and maybe you remember even yourself as a child, you believe your parents, you know, Mom, why is the sky blue? Because God made it that way. So you think, wow, because God made it that way. Well, you know, you get a little bit older and then you read some science. Well, the sky is blue because it's reflecting the color of the, you know, of the earth underneath, and it's this, I'm not a scientist, but there is some sort of scientific explanation for that, which you should probably Google. But so in other words, knowledge or devotional knowledge can come from our heart, and sometimes it can be true, which means that if we believe the words of our guru or our teacher, we would hope that those are true. If we believe the words of scripture, well, those are true. If we believe the words of our parents, well, most of the time they are also true, or at least with true intention. But you know, as human beings, we're all limited. So we understand Agama, devotional knowledge. I mean, when you understand where the source is coming from, how much you believe in the source of that knowledge is the essence of your belief in that knowledge itself. These 3 forms of knowledge are your ability to lead yourself or to lead your mind to right knowledge. Knowledge or direct experience, particularly of the spirit within. Rational, or knowledge that comes from reason, things that you can kind of figure out and do your best to assess. And finally, knowledge that comes from a source that you're so devoted to that you just believe it because you love that source. So when you understand these 3 types of knowledge, they're always tempered with humility. Humility to understand that no matter where we stand, our vantage point is a little bit likened to a blind person holding on to the trunk of an elephant and only able to feel this one portion of the elephant. If we can all take our individual pieces and be humble enough to understand that we only get a small sliver of the grandness of all knowledge, we can understand that our journey is about putting one foot in front of another along the practice of yoga and surrendering into that greater knowledge that is really the truth of the divine. Only with humility will you really begin to practice yoga and fully grasp the vast expansion of what is possible. Once you're able to recognize the truth and be able to decipher what is the true from the untrue. You'll also be able to differentiate between what is the spiritual and the material. And then you'll be really far along the journey of yoga. Or, like the cartoon I used to watch when I was a little girl, G.I. Joe says, knowing is half the battle. Bring your hands together. Inhale. Namaste.